James. You got the stuff about the NBA you want to talk about.
Yeah, so Anthony Edwards, a week or so ago, he was asked about, want to be the face of the league, and he was like, nah, I don't be face of the league. Why I do that? Like, that, I'm good. And then
Not wanting to
somebody,
put a target on himself, I would imagine.
right, right. And his natural answer was like, nah, man, I just want to hoop. Like, obviously, huge Kevin Durant idolizer, right? Like, so he's in that camp of like, I want to hoop and go home. If I talk to y'all, cool. I don't need to. I mean, that's fine, whatever. Like, not everybody's just because you're the best or one of the best players are you even are the best player means that you need to be the face of the league. Like, Tim Duncan was never the face of the NBA. Never happened, right? Like, that's the thing. Uh, so for me, I was like, okay, cool. So then they asked LeBron about it, and LeBron was like, "Yeah, man, like, I see what he's saying. Like, it seems like the guys get shitted on in a way that seems like just different. It's weird." And then he didn't put no names on it, but it's like we've had this talk about discourse about like it don't seem like anybody that covers basketball or talks about basketball actually likes the players. And then obviously we've wanted inside the NBA to be the fuck out of here forever. That's a part of it. It's like I'm tired of seeing Shaq shit on big men because they aren't as dominant as Shaq. It's like Shaq, you won the genetic lottery. Like not all these dudes win the genetic lottery where you can be 7'1", 330 plus pounds, and then like also be able to get like to score 30,000 points. That's not a thing. You're the only person that's ever been that big and ever like even be able to play NBA that long. Let alone be great at it. So, um, yeah, I've just Stephen A. Smith then in response to that was
I think there's another
like
part of
what?
this you missing because like they referenced Channing Frye basically to LeBron, giving his direct quotes from because Channing Frye ended up popping up on some show and he said a bunch of shit where I thought he was crying. But
Yeah, Shannon Fry has a podcast with Richard Jefferson called Road Tripping. It's been around for a while. Like but like I didn't hear any quotes about that because I don't like it's Shannon Fry in the discourse and that kind of stuff. Like I don't.
because that's why LeBron got the question. He specifically got like
I
the
thought it was because of Ant.
nah, because like
For one,
it went basically like Ant, and then Fry was basically like, why wouldn't Ant say this? This is all you do is shit on these people. And then he started talking about Jordan and Kobe and saying shit about Kobe, and then I didn't like that. And then they asked
what did he say
LeBron
about
about
Kobe?
it. He was like, "This stuff with Jordan and Kobe wasn't as clean as y'all like it, to pretend it was or whatever." Kobe Bryant quit on his team in 2006. It's like he has these specific examples, picked out and
Oh,
all this stuff.
I
And
mean
then
Kobe did get shit for that, but there's
I
also
was
another
just
side
about
where
to go
people were
to it.
like,
Yeah,
"Oh, sorry,
I was gonna.
Kobe." Go
Yeah,
ahead,
I was gonna say because Shannon Fry was basically saying like this didn't happen to them or whatever, and I was like bullshit. Like people called him a fucking quitter for years. This was compounded with you will never win because you're not with Shaq. This is compounded with the Colorado stuff, which is beyond the game. This is also compounded with you will never be Michael Jordan. There's like four things working against Kobe right there, and then he makes up pretty much for all of them. Like in Channing Frye, obviously didn't bring that up or anything, but um,
yeah.
and it was just like it really just seemed like a big LeBron defense, like because he started with LeBron and then he started bringing the other players into it, like Giannis. He's like Giannis is also one of the greatest players of all time. Jokic is one of the greatest players of all time. Curry's, and I'm like, brother, like. And then that's when we were having a conversation the other day. I'm like, these other players, like in these other eras, were not like getting, they were not just, praised blindly by people. Like you seem to be demanding. Like I remember how Allen Iverson got talked about. I remember Russell Westbrook how he got talked about. I remember Shaq how he was getting talked about. Tim Duncan's boring. Tracy McGrady, you don't try on the other end of the floor. Vince Carter, you're a quitter. You're a cancer of your team. Kevin Garnett, you're a fucking loser. They can't get out of the first round. you can just go down the list, like literally the '90s. Hakeem, you're a malcontent because like we don't know
You have a you're a hothead.
you're a temper.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a
Stop getting in fights.
Yeah. There's like,
and also you might be a black hole when you get the ball.
Charles Barkley, like you're an awful person. Like
they were right. He just charismatic.
So like, and then the whole thing is like, you know, everybody's just been beating up on LeBron forever, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I think LeBron has plenty of protection in the media. I can name like 15 guys going to bat for him on a daily basis. So like, I don't know if anybody else has created a media empire to defend them at all times. Shannon Sharp, Nick Wright, Chris Broussard, Brian Windhorse, Colin Cowherd, Kendrick Perkins. Yes.
Kendrick Windhorse on that list?
Yes. Kendrick Perkins, Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye, Dave McMenamin, Gilbert Arenas.
Hold on. Rich. I'm not saying those guys you named is there. I would not put Windhorse on that list with those guys at all.
And then, you know.
Now, if you want to say, I think you're misconstruing the part where, like, Windhorse got famous because he's the guy that covered LeBron. But as far as, like, criticisms of LeBron, he's put his foot in LeBron's ass more than enough times. Like, LeBron don't even talk to him no more. He hasn't talked to him for, like, a decade.
So,
he broke his foot off in LeBron's ass.
And then, like,
like that shit, like, remember the Lucas shit during the finals?
Yeah.
When Morris put his foot off in Lucas' ass? He's done that about LeBron. Maybe not as like on camera, right during, not like during the.
It goes under the radar.
He's done that before, as far as his writing.
And then like every LeBron teammate from the past decade, as far as the eye can see, I guess you can add JJ Redick into this. He was a part of the media before. Every LeBron James teammate, as far as the eye can see, has a podcast going to bat for him too. So it's like, who's shitting on you at this point, LeBron? Like, there's one side that's giving it to you, and then there's one side that's defending you. So it comes with the territory. Stop crying, like, is what I'm saying.
My point wasn't necessarily about a LeBron thing, but my argument would be saying, like, hey, if this dude is the guy with the unquestioned best career in the history of the sport, it's kind of weird that like half of Twitter or half of like the space of that watches basketball like got shit to say about him. It's weird.
Well, all those people.
If you want to say the internet, hold on. If you want to say the internet is this place where like we take people's fringe ideas or what do you call it? Not observations, their wants, their needs, their feeds into like the what do you call it? The id where like they wouldn't actually say this stuff to this person or whatever else. Sure, that's fair, but I would say like. These people go on the internet just like everybody else, and like they're not from this era where like they never had the internet to where they can just ignore it. Like these kids are LeBron in past and after that, like they don't know how to. I just turn the show off. I don't care. Like they can't do the code where it's like, yeah, I had a time when there was no Twitter. I can just turn the show. I don't care. Like LeBron's in that age where it's like, yeah, I got social media. I had a MySpace. I had a Zanga. I had a whatever. I had a Black Planet. Like. Whereas, like, yeah, this is a thing as a part of life. Like, it's not so easy to turn this off, and like that's an issue with these, with youth in this situation where like social media like is warped people's minds because like it spreads so negatively that like in the stuff that's negative sticks with you more. And that's how that works. So like, yeah, they see praise or whatever, but like, this is the kind of shit that happens. Like, bro, like my timeline's like, bro, I don't know how many times I have to see like people are complaining or. Free throw merchant Shai Gilgeous-Alexander versus defensive cone Jokic are going to be the two MVPs. That's what I see on my timeline once a day. These are two best basketball players in the world right now. Or two of the four. You know? And it's like, okay. They have bad games. Neither of them actually had a bad game. You just point out this one little play in the middle of this game where they had like where Jokic had a 30-point triple-double and Shai had like 37 and 6. That's weird. Like, that is a part of this. And, like, I think LeBron is a person to be like, hey, man, like, I understand, like, I got this stuff, but, like, I didn't do anything to actually piss people off. Like, the Stephen A. Smith thing.
You don't think he pissed people off in his career?
No. He didn't do anything that's worth being pissed off about. No. He wasn't like Stephen A. Smith talking about he wasn't a dunk contest. No. he said to during this whole thing because he mentioned all media. I think mostly he's probably talking about like inside the NBA. Stephen A. Smith then took it in to be about, I've had talks with LeBron off TV, therefore I know how he feels about this, so I'm going to feel personally attacked by this, and then I'm going to say like LeBron and his crew don't like when I mentioned that I think he's the same best basketball player all the time. It's like, okay, he's entitled to his opinion. He has the best career of all time, whatever. But I don't think he's talking about Stephen A. Smith. I think Stephen A. Smith's a hit dog hollering, and also it's like, okay, so when it comes to this stuff with LeBron, it's like, okay, you said that his point in rebuttal to that was, Stephen A. Smith was, you went to Miami, which then meant that the owners were going to hammer the player union and make up a new CBA. And I was like, so wait, so we are faulting LeBron wanting to in free agency switch teams for why they took 7% of the basketball related income from the players? That sounds like you fell for the propaganda of a money grab and blamed it on the players as opposed to the greedy owners. Like, some of this stuff is just weird. All these
well, what did that free agency
happen? Supposed to actually about the players, like in the way they play or like the things they do or whatever. Like, if you have an issue with LeBron going to Miami, fine. You have an issue with Durant moving to Miami, fine. Like, when this thing has happened where like we invalidate people's accomplishments because of, it's just weird.
They've been doing this forever. They've been doing this forever. This is not new to these people.
But right. My point is, you would think that we would learn a lesson like, yo, that sucked when we did this to Shaq, Kobe, Iverson. Instead of being like, well, my favorite player got that done to them, I'm going to treat everybody else unfairly too, as opposed to growing up, being mature and being like, yeah, that's something my favorite player went through that. I hope these other guys in the future have to go through that as well. Like, that's I've always been when this came to this stuff. It's like, why does everybody's like, it's like, I went through the hazing, so like they have to go through the hazing too. It's like, so you just want the world to just be fucked up forever. You don't want to make any kind of impactful change. Okay, fine, got it. I understand not one person can change all that kind of stuff, but it's like that mindset of like always going into that is like, this is how the toxicity not only just stay the same, it gets worse, progressively worse. Like, when people keep going to these videos of like watching games of like trying to figure out like when flopping started,
mm-hmm.
and they're going back to show picture like Reggie Miller and Dennis Rodman, and it's like, yeah, man, I was alive for that. I knew they flopped then. I didn't. I know that it wasn't actually Europeans that created this and infected our beautiful American basketball with this. That was always bullshit in barbershops. You ain't got to convince me. I knew that, but like but I keep seeing it on my timeline. I'm just like, yo, this is. I don't know what this got to do with you wanting to watch people be great or watch a team be great or watch like your team. I just don't see. I see how you fall into it over else or from time to time. But like, when's the point where people look back and be like, you know what? Does this help me enjoy the sport more? Maybe for some people it does. I think maybe it does. It builds up like the hero villain thing.
Mm-hmm.
Who you like, who you don't like, but. At some point, you actually have to like what or hate what what these people do when they come on the court. It don't seem like anyone's ever interested. Like, it's always like
I don't know, man.
Stuff.
Yeah, because it's like, all right, it's like
I kind of. I'll get home. Let me finish it. I'll let you have it.
Yeah.
For a long time because I've taken the mic for a long time. It feels like this discourse stuff of Face the League is like another part of this shit of like it's in the way of all this stuff to talk about aside from the games. Like when Cheney was like, yo, we're talking about this right now, and Steph scored 56 last night. What? And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. Like, one of the greatest players of all time, like, at the end of his career, at a time we don't think he could do this anymore. He had a very slow start to the year. His team was shit. He has a new lease on life, and he dropped 56 last night. It's just on the ticker.
Well, the other part is like Ant couldn't jump up and say I am with the face of the league because he knows he's not good enough right now to be the face of the league. Like, he knows he's not the best player. He's not going to be the best player in the league. So it's like, and he's American too. So it's like there's a whole like thing of people being nervous. There's no American player like to go there.
That's another part of this shit that's in the way. Why do you care what country they're from? We've talked about this before, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I've
but like as far as like, you know, question if people like the players, I don't know if the players have necessarily given people a lot to like about them.
I think they've shut down.
What you mean?
I think they see that stuff and like, oh my god, these people do not like me. Well, they'll put on that thing. Well, fuck you then.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go full Russell Westbrook their whole career.
Yeah, because it's like, you know,
everybody says Russell is a great guy. Name me one good. Give me one good interview he's ever done. He's never fucked with the media. He never wanted to do that shit because he knows it. Because he knows they was gonna tear his ass apart based on the way he plays, and they did. He was right.
Yeah.
But everybody that knows him is like, he's a great guy. And then you hear about the community stuff he does or whatever. He is a great guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So
everybody's ever played with vouch for him is that's a great dude.
Look, the money.
He's right, but he's like, I know when it comes to this other shit, they're going to fuck it up, and they've been right. Even while he's had stretches where he's you know, he is a bad decision maker at times in games. He does have some of the most ugliest turnovers that you're like, yo, how are you this gifted half the time, and then for like 5 seconds, almost like you glitch, right? He was right about his whole approach to all this shit.
And like you think about like, all right, the money's exploded in a certain way. I'm sure, you know, that builds up a certain amount of whatever, and then it's like,
but not the owners.
I mean, people don't watch the owners own; they watch the players play. So like
they watch their owners take sledgehammers to their local team every fucking year.
Well, it looks like, you know, as far as like all the player movement and all that over the last decade, like that's been, you know, that's largely been player led. So like that's like, you know, it'd be like, man, there's no more like long term teams that are getting blown up. Essentially, these there's yeah.
I mean, they blew up the Thunder.
Well, yeah. Yeah, they
could have ruled that out for a whole nother year without any ramifications of going into luxury tax. They weren't even close to it. They could have ran that one more year, blew it up prematurely.
And I think like some of this also has to do with the league kind of being so. It's almost like it's a fantasy GM league, like where it's like, all right, we don't even talk about players like they're players. We talk about them like their contracts, and then like. Every draft pick is so scrutinized. Every trade is like has 1 million draft picks in it to do all these. This has been like the wildest time I can remember, pretty much from, I would say, from Kevin Durant on, as far as how guys are switching.
Durant to the Warriors?
Yeah.
Or Durant showing up in the league?
Durant showing to the Warriors, sorry. Like 2016 going forward with like these mega trades with like 7 draft picks in them and like guys just switching up, going coast to coast and stuff like that. It really breaks, I think, the, you know, and then like the all the, you can add the jerseys and, you know, the brand identities for the teams. Like a lot of that stuff gets broken, and it's just like they're not going to get it back. The All-Star game has gone to hell under the last decade, where, you know, that's a moment for the fans, they say, but it ain't, because it's a whole nother thing or whatever. So like, I don't know, man. Like I think this shit's gonna be how it's gonna be at this point. And, you know, like I can understand guys like feeling like they don't want to deal with that and all that, but it's been part of the game in some form or fashion back to the 70s, to let Bill Simmons tell it. And he's participated in it.
That is true. The difference is these guys make so much money now that where they can actually say, fuck you, I'm not doing it. And I think that's the thing. I think now we're coming to the point where when it comes to mental health and these guys, for the sake of their like mental, it probably is the best approach to basically handle what would Russ do, right? Handle it as such and be like, screw you, I'm going to take my $800,000 game check and go home. Because they're about to make like $800,000 per game now, you know. So,
look,
like, but
that's going to lead to more. Like this shit, it's only going to get more.
But my point is, like,
and somehow the NBA convinced NBC to give them like $11 billion. So it's like you got all the money now. So like, you know.
like my point about this is like when it comes to the face of the league stuff or whatever else. I feel like now we are in like unintended consequences. Like if you can bring up the Kobe stuff, I feel like you can bring up the Kobe stuff. Sure, Kobe had a rape trial. Like that is not the same as like, oh, like why does LeBron have his son on the NBA team? Like we wouldn't have cared about what the 15th slot in the NBA was 20 years ago.
They did.
Like,
they did kind of make it a public thing that was a known charade through draft manipulation, and then like rolling it out opening night. They made a thing. They made it a thing.
But why did it become a thing?
Because
he's the face of the league now.
Because LeBron James and Clutch Sports manipulating the league.
No, man. No. What I'm saying,
telling people not to draft him, that's not manipulating the league. He'll go to Australia.
Okay. How many stories have we heard about players and agents doing that, not sending over medical records to teams, and to keep them from getting drafted, their player drafted to the spot? That's not some new thing.
How many of these people? How many people own a sports agency in the middle of their primes or the middle of their entire careers and set it up for their son to do this while you're pulling the strings?
Would have done it? How many people would have done it if they had the money to fund it? That's the better question. Like, a lot of this stuff comes to, like, the same thing when it came to Durant and the Warriors, right? Like, LeBron does the Heat thing, right?
Brace the competitive balance of the league.
He puts they put the hammer to that Heat team, right? Durant does it. It's even more lopsided than that one ever was. You actually had a chance to beat the Miami Heat. You had zero fucking chance ever to beat the Thunder if they were, the Warriors if they were healthy. He got shit he didn't get nearly that amount of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's this thing where it's like LeBron has been I don't want to say trailblazing because I don't think it's that important, but like he's been the first to do these things, and then it's like after time goes by, it's like, oh yeah, that shit don't fucking matter. We were all tripping. Like this like that Bill Simmons paperback version of the book of a book of basketball, bro. LeBron was finished back-to-back MVPs. He leaves him at 20, and then I think his last sentence on that part is like, as a fan, I can never forgive you. Flash forward a decade later, yeah, the fuck you did. You put him number 2. Like, that's the kind of dramatic stuff we've done with when it comes to being the face of this league. It's like, you can never forgive a stranger that didn't commit a crime? Like, you don't think this stuff just sounds weird. You're just a fan. I just don't get this kind of stuff when it comes from like fans that are like fanatics. I get it. You're in the media.
I mean, these fans are being activated by the people that are being named earlier. When Nick Wright is like just shitting on Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant just for a decade, like there's gonna be a comeback for that. Shannon Sharp, Kendrick Perkins.
Rich, why are they shitting on those people?
To establish their point about the guy they like.
No. They're shitting on people in response to Skip Bayless doing this shit 15, 20 years ago, saying LeBron James ain't shit, and it's been spiraling ever since then. It's all a feedback loop of the original sin. The original sin is, why are we shitting this dude who looks like he's going to be fucking awesome that was 18 years old? And I'm not even trying to get into the specific LeBron thing. It's like, there's going to be people after him that they're going to shit on. And they're happy people we shit on. We shat on Durant. Like, Durant's one of the 15 greatest basketball players of all time. Does it feel like we celebrate Kevin Durant that way?
We really shouldn't. Like, there's not really a ton to celebrate about Kevin Durant.
Okay, let's move Durant. Do we feel like we celebrate Steph Curry like he's one of the 15 greatest basketball players of all time? Because I don't feel like we do.
No, because there's an entire media landscape of people I just named that resent him for winning LeBron James's championships that they thought were entitled to him. That's why. And Kevin Durant falls under that.
So you get my point about how this whole entire media system is irresponsible. That's my whole point. The original sin is LeBron sucks. People pop up to say, no, actually LeBron doesn't suck. Those guys suck. And then other people that came behind him are like, actually no, LeBron does suck because there's Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, and then those people that were fighting the Michael Jordan thing saying, actually, you know what? Kevin Durant and Steph Curry suck. It's you see, it's a sick cycle. This continues. This is why I don't like this shit. This is why I've always hated these fucking debate shows. I've always hated them, and they still in more timeline when I'm talking about the debate shows and how much they suck. You know what I'm saying? Like
the only thing that lasts is the narrative.
By the way,
look, the only thing that lasts is the narrative.
Right. So it's like. And then also there's a point where, like, you know, it feels like because of how this is going, it's how about the way the play is going, is that third. It seems like people, like, it feels like it finally caught up to it, but, like, it feels like this stuff has affected the way people perceive the sport.
Does this not happen in any other look, does this not happen in any other sport?
So for example, you mentioned the part about like guys not caring about the All-Star game, whatever else. No one gives a, they're playing flag football in the Pro Bowl and they're doing skills competitions, but it don't affect the NBA. Or it don't affect the NFL.
Well, I think I have
ratings get bigger every single year.
I think I have a clue of why, because I think I'll just use football and baseball as examples, right? And with football, I think it's going to lean more towards the physics of everything, right? To where people just wouldn't think to dare compare them just based on the size and everything. Like, hey, it's fucking dumb. Like to argue otherwise, and you have like no credibility. Now in baseball, a lot of this has the way baseball was when we grew up. It wasn't the most scientific thing in the world. It was big motherfuckers trying to hit the ball out the park. And that's come around a little bit more. But it moved to a strategy-based game, like towards the time where we weren't really watching.
A strategy-based game.
It went overboard.
The more efficient way to move the strategy.
Everybody became the Rays, essentially. Like, so, like, people can't, like, necessarily be like, compare it, right? But in basketball, I think it's a blend of the two. It's like, all right, the size, like people aren't looking at heights, like everybody's still the same size roughly, like give or take some weight. You know,
guys are heavier now.
Yeah, like, but not like to where like people would notice it or anything. So like it's like, all right, you're 205, you would have been 195, like you'd have been 10 pounds either way. But
I think average weight has gone up 10 pounds, or it did at some point. It may have gone back down because there's less centers.
Yeah, and
I used to look at the thing on the year-to-year thing on Basketball Reference,
and then like strategically, like it's also like shifted as well. So like it's
over people's heads. So that's another part. That's the part that I will agree with. Like I think I think out of any other sport that people play people play recreationally, right, or even like play to a certain level, basketball was a sport where like it was this, and there was few changes, and like you knew what good defense looked like, right? But it's totally changed because of 3-point shot, and people do not understand that, and still are like, what? Are still like, why are they dropping? Why are they ice? Why are they going under screens? It's like,
get up on them.
You just don't get it. You don't get it. And that's how you get people. And that's how you get people saying that kind of shit all the time, right? It's like, yo, But there are places that.
So I think I was saying, I think basketball is in that sweet spot between like both, like why baseball and football don't get compared the same way. You never hear someone bringing up someone like Ken Griffey Jr. and comparing them to like, you know, Byron Buxton or like, you know, Aaron Judge and Barry Bonds. Like they know it's ridiculous. They'd be like, hold on.
I mean, they would, but then it would always be like Babe Ruth's the greatest baseball player of all time. It's like, yeah, I don't think so. I think he might. With more talent in the actual sport that wasn't like, you know, segregated out. I think actually maybe he still does or whatever else, but like his numbers are less legitimate.
Right. Like you're not like comparing like Hank Aaron to Ohtani or something like that. It's just like a different thing. Like people don't even they don't do that.
What left-handed Dominicans was Babe Ruth facing?
Right. And then football, the size gap is so big. And, of course, strategy in football has changed, too. I'm not saying that. But I think in basketball, it's the best blend of both.
You just meant like flat out physicality.
Yeah. Like, it's like it has the best blend of both to make people think they're watching the same thing. It's like, nah. So, like, when we were talking the other day, like, I told you, I don't really think about who would beat who. I kind of think about who was better against comparatively their time. Like, that's kind of what I think. But
that's what I do, too. I don't like these people that do the whole like this person had this amount of this game or this type of game or whatever else. Therefore, he was it's like, nah, bro. Like that's not how that works. And also, like some of that stuff don't actually matter that much as y'all claim it to matter. But the thing for me is just like the era stuff, whatever was. I think that's how I rate players or historically is like, all right, how good were you relative to the competition you played? So for me, it's like that's how I always do. Because like I don't know what like when people do like Michael Jordan, he would have developed a 3-point shot. It's like he played in the league almost all his entire career with it. He never really got better until like the second three-peat. That's not true. There were people that actually did get better at 3-point shooting. He didn't. So this ain't true.
I sure would have loved to see mid-2000s Kobe Bryant in anything but the slowest pace basketball in the history of the recorded sport. I sure would have loved to see it, James. Averaging 35, I sure would have loved to see it.
Well, handshaking when did handshaking change? 04?
Yeah.
05?
Yeah. 04. Yeah. 04, 05 season. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's just for me, it's just like, everybody got shit, right? Everybody had foul shit written about them. I think this stuff is like, now is like, it's not just the beat reporter at a particular paper, now it's like, it's on fucking ESPN. And it's literally like being from the top down. It's not from the outskirts up now. Like, so that's the part for me that I was like, yeah, guys all had the shit they had to do with. Now stuff is like, yo, there's absolutely a TMZ-ification of like the sports star. And like, I'm not ready just to concede that like we should be engaging in this, even though we've been doing it for a decade. Plus more than a decade.
Yeah,
I still
like
find it to be
20
kind of
years.
gross. Like I still find it to be gross, and like my part is like people be like, oh, it's like even people our age, like it's like I don't. How are you guys okay with this?
Yes, that's the way it's always been.
In barbershops, not on TV. That's what I keep saying. This stuff wasn't happening like that. Like, I just do not like this whole idea that, because it's like my players like the part that I'm fighting against, or not fighting against, but like my part that I'm hesitant to is like, all right, if you're allowing this now, where are we going to be when our kids watch this shit? Or even going to want to watch it?
Probably not, because it won't be no American face of the league.
Oh God.
So bring it back. It won't be nobody that looks like them. It won't be nobody that reminds them of themselves. Ja Morant wanted to play with guns, James. That's what happened to him. Zion Williamson couldn't stay away from porn stars and gumbo.
Like, look, man, I gotta tell you. I gotta tell you. I got jokes. This kid hit three people. Like, I gotta tell you, like, point guard that was out that could that couldn't dunk without throwing an alley oop. You end up 5'9". You never got taught on that. You wasn't gonna be able to rate LeBron James or Kevin Durant ever anyway. Because they 6'10", they 6'10" and 6'8" and shit. Like, and they played above the rim. I'm sorry, man. Like that. Like it's just so weird to me. Like like remember like as it was happening, right? People were just downing Giannis left and right on the court. This was at least on the court, right?
Yeah.
I was like, no bag. I'm like, he scored 50 to close out the finals when his knee bent backwards 2 weeks ago. This should never be a conversation ever again.
They should have on him. He's got everything you want. He plays hard as fuck, loyal to his team, good guy, funny. Got better.
The only thing you can say
Video
about
game
him is
stats. Sometimes some of the stuff he says is weird, but you chalk that up to him not being from here.
Well, I was gonna say the only thing you can say about him of late is like he will lean on his friend. He will lean on the Bucks to pressure him to do what he wants by saying like, "Hey, maybe I will go into free agency. Maybe I will, do that third." It's just there is no saying it's a failure. Just like,
and
you're a psychopath.
and after a decade at this point, You got it. And the title.
Yeah.
You got it.
Right. Like, and the thing for me is like, do you not remember what this was? It's kind of like Steph Curry crossed with Hakeem Olajuwon. So we're like, bro, when did he pick up a basketball? How poor was he?
Yeah.
He was a developmental pick. He was a developmental player. He was not supposed to be here. He's a Nigerian from Greece. What's that? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a fucking movie. And people, you know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, there's all types of stuff like that. Like, I just do not fundamentally, just on general principle, do not like the way we've talked about players and all that kind of stuff. And like, yeah, I do understand the part where like, yeah, I would like for them to have to care more in the All-Star game, right? Like, yes, I'm aware that like the All-Star game guys didn't actually play 100% unless games were close in the fourth quarter. I watched it. I grew up. I'm aware of that.
But
I don't like where it's going.
Better.
I don't like the player management stuff or the low management stuff. But like that shit ain't on the players. That was a top-down mandate from ownership / the office, and like the players are the ones that get the shit. The players want to play. That's how they made it here. The players get protected from themselves, and then they also get blamed for that shit. It's like, all right, man. Obviously, there are exceptions. I get that, but by and large, like what this got to do with the Spurs basically saying we finna play the Miami Heat on James Boyd's birthday in 2009, and we finna sit every single motherfucker. We finna sit Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker on national television. That happened.
Yeah.
And then the next game, what did the Heat do? They set LeBron and them down because they were whipping it out in front of each other and playing games. And then you know, but LeBron's the one that's Mr. Load Management. He's played more games than anybody. Played more minutes than anybody. He's a old man. Okay. We really thought it was Tim Duncan, but no one says about Tim Duncan. No one cares. I don't think Tim Duncan gets shit for this because it extended his career and he was great longer than he otherwise would have been. But like, I just think all this stuff is like, all right, when it comes down to it, it's always like not always. It comes down to like, yeah, man. It just feels like people resent the players, and I'm tending to be pushed back when it seems like it is a general point. It's like it seems like we're resenting the players, and it's like there's a black league, and these players are getting resented. I'm going to be like, hey, man, y'all might want to rethink this. I don't like how this sounds.
I gotta say, man, like in the old days, again. In the old days, they was a little bit. It slipped out a little bit more. It's a little bit more identifiable. You know, the racism. These are like good kids, largely that are coming in. They don't talk about them the same way. They're not calling them nappy headed or something like that. Like they're like, you know,
talking about how they dress.
Yeah, they're
like
not
they dress like thugs.
Yeah, they sound. If anything, they talking about how they dress fruity or something like that. like you at a fashion week or something. Like they ain't calling Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, they be giving, bro. They don't be doing this. Now this is separate. This is not actually like the media thing. Social media, bro. They be like talking bad about Shea and how he dress with the fashion shit because he does like there is some Seth Rollins-ism in the way he dresses, like a fashion show. Like look, I don't love it. And like his new conference came out, it's like, oh, those are knockoff AI fours.
Like that shit ain't fly. Like that shit don't look fly to me. Like I'll say that.
It don't look fly to me, but it's like, hey man, get your shit off. You look, you averaging 30. You can dress however you want.
Yeah.
It ain't for me to understand. He dressed like he Hawaiian. I'm not Hawaiian no more. I'm not gonna be. I'm doing like, oh man, that's beyond me. If he like it, whatever. I think it look kind of crazy, but I'm not about to harp on it. I'm not about to make it like a part of the assassinate his character if he fails in a big moment. And bro, the second he has a bad game, they're gonna be like, he was too busy trying to coordinate outfits and then try to get the basket in the bucket.
I'll say this. If
the ball in the basket,
he better not lose no game 7 and then come to the press conference wearing some bullshit. I'll say that.
On the West Walker.
He better have a fucking black suit in the back ready just in case. You know.
You know what? This wasn't on LeBron, but you remember after Game 1 of the 2018 Finals with the J.R. Smith shit. Remember he wore that suit that had the shorts.
Yes.
and he had the bag, and it's like, luckily he wasn't the gun. It wasn't he wasn't the reason why they lost. JR was, but like he had to answer a question on the HR behalf, and he had to walk off, and he walked off. And he took that fucking bag off and take that bag down the aisle to walk out the press conference, and he got them shorts on. I know he was like, man, I wish I didn't wear them shorts this day. I didn't know this is gonna be a real tense press conference where I had to storm out.
Was Channing Frye on that? Was Channing Frye on that team still then?
Or yeah, he was on. Remember that he was on that 17 and 18 team. Yeah.
Funny, he talked about Kobe Bryant not shooting at a critical time. Seem to have missed that one. But whatever.
I don't remember him having a 3-1 lead in that game, in that series, but
look, even then,
I never even got mad at Kobe about that. Like, I never got mad. I was like, hey, man, like, he played his heart out. He played great. His teammates sucked. He said, you know what? I can't win. Whatever. Fuck it. I never got mad at Kobe about that.
Look, I would have quit too on them niggas. They was down 15. He had 23 in the first half. Look,
that was my feeling. That's why I never got mad at him about it. Because it was like,
but he had to wear it. Look, he had to wear it.
Banging on Steve Nash. He banged on a nigga. Like,
yeah. Look, bro.
You hear LeBron?
I forgot.
You see, Rich.
Yeah.
You see Kevin Garnett talk about when LeBron dunked on Mark Williams a few weeks ago. Because he was with Tony Allen.
I saw some clip recently. He was talking about
he basically he talked about he's like, bro, he's like, he banged on nigga at 40. Like niggas ain't respecting the game. Niggas don't know what it's like to be 40 and bang and to be able to do that kind of stuff. And I was like, bro, because I was thinking to myself like, yo, bro, Kobe just like that. Kobe banged on he banged on Steve Nash off a fucking tip, off a tip. That shit was nuts.
Yeah. All I heard was how Kobe Bryant couldn't make it out the first round and shit. Like, I'm like, all right, man, you make it out the first round. Look, you make it out the first round with that roster against the Suns.
That's the thing that I talk about when it comes to this stuff. Is like we criticize these players. Like, bro, that team's not good enough. They traded away Shaquille O'Neal and then they didn't make the playoffs and he was great then. And then next year they made the playoffs and the year after that he made the playoffs. Like I just don't.
You know.
That's what I mean as far as like the unfair treatment. Like Kobe was one of the first people that I realized like, yo, they're not. This is weird.
Pau Gasol is the sole reason, they won the 2010 NBA Finals, James.
So he's the sole reason why they won not sole reason. He's the biggest reason why they won Game 7.
He should have been Finals MVP according to some.
Nah, that's ridiculous. Fuck out of here.
I'm like, yeah, while averaging 10 points less than Kobe Bryant for the series. Okay. Like get the fuck
But that's my
here,
point of getting to the over criticism stuff. It's like people do this stuff. It's like, you're a threat to Jordan, so therefore we got to start nitpicking or whatever else. And like, then what happened was the Kobe fans, they were like, all right. This LeBron guy's has every single point in his career has been better than Kobe. All right, watch where us and the rest of the Lakers fandom take it. And boy, they took it to the point where now we're 22 years in and we're still doing it.
Look, you taking it there, we taking it. Hey, you taking it there, we taking it further. It's something you don't want to do.
Thanks, Frye. I just don't. I get it to be. It can be interesting, can be funny at times. It's probably be like, all right, let's see what like these prominent like discourse things are, and like let's see if we if we deconstruct it, like does it actually hold up? Most of it doesn't, right? When it comes to this nitpicky stuff, and that's why I'm like, so ultimately, what are you trying to prove? Like, are you trying to actually find the truth, or are you just like you just want to go to wave pom poms for your people? And it's like. For me, it's like I've liked all these. I don't have like favorites. Like there are people I think are better, but like I don't actually like one more than the other. And in a lot of cases, like there are people that are like I like this person more than the other, but I'll still rank whatever. I have a problem ranking so whatever. So it's like sometimes I'm just like, am I just a feelingless robot or whatever compared to everybody else? Like I don't know. It's weird because like
somebody gonna clip
I like
that.
Kobe, like Iverson, I like Vince Carter until he threw his career away as a top star, but whatever. It's just hard for me to be like, how do y'all? I'm talking about the same sport y'all are. Y'all seem to be just passionate. Why are you wasting your time with this nonsense? It's like, so when these conversations happen, it's like, y'all don't realize this is another part of the nonsense. It's almost like you don't realize that being homophobic or anti-Semitic is a tool of white supremacy. You don't realize how much time you waste with this bullshit. Throw it all away. Fuck that whole tool over there. It's a Swiss Army knife. Don't use any of it.
Yeah, I will continue to dedicate my time and days to the defense of the Kobe Bryant legacy, and we are going to set the correct narrative. About Kobe Bryant. So that shit that I found this week. That's all time.
Not a real Israelites.
Look. That's all timer. Look, that's all timer for the cause. Well, hold on. This nigga was doing what in 2006? Like with the on off numbers. Like hold on, what? Like I gotta add that one in. I didn't know that. Like.
Wait, what happened?
Well, I was talking about the on-off numbers. So, like in 2006, the Dallas Mavericks had the best offense in the NBA. They were scoring like 110 points per 100 possessions or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when Kobe was on the floor, they had the same. It was like virtually the same offensive rate as the Dallas Mavericks, right?
Yeah.
So the
Blazers off. Well, how bad was it?
So the Blazers had the worst one in the league, and they were scoring around like 100 points per 100 possessions or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. The Lakers with Kobe Bryant off the floor were scoring 91 points a game, so they were like negative 20, and then they said that is a greater differential on and off than Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James have ever had in their careers. Like Kobe by himself on that 06 roster was like the best, and when you take him off, they're 10 points worse than the worst team in the league. I didn't know it was that bad. I knew it was bad, but it's not that bad.
Stuff you can with individual players like the MVP candidates. Like there's always one guy that has like a number. Like it was like when they're on the floor, it's like, oh, their team in general. And all totals for the season, like they're 5th or 6th, or they're somewhere in the top 10. They're not number 1. And then like when they're on the floor, they're number 1. And then when they're off the floor, they're like they have the same average as the worst team. Like that's been Jokic for like the last half decade.
Yeah.
I feel like every single year here is a stat like that. And I've heard stats like that about LeBron. Not that exact one, but like of that ilk where it's like on the floor, off the floor. It's ridiculous. So yeah, like Kobe was absolutely one of those guys. Like. I didn't need to know that stat. Like I watched it. I saw how, you know what I'm saying? Like, Kobe Bryant from 2006 or 2005 through 2000 let's say 8 or 9. Like that was like one of the very best basketball players I've ever seen. Like I mean, I'm glad there are stats that back that up, but like my eye test told me that. I saw him average 40 for a month. Like,
yeah, that was that same season. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I saw him score 62 on a playoff Mavericks team in 3 quarters and laid it down because the game was out of hand. I saw him score 81 points. Or I didn't see him. Like I woke up to find out he scored 81 points. I couldn't fucking believe my eyes. Like another perfect example, right? Kobe 81, right? Devin Booker 70. Luka 70 last few years. Bro, when
don't register.
When Kobe scored 81, that shit was a topic of SportsCenter for a full week. A full week. Obviously, that had something to do with the downtime because that happened like in between
the NFC Championship and
the title games and the Super Bowl, so it was dead time. But like that was a whole thing for a week. Motherfucker scores 60 or whatever else, and it's like, B block of the show. We got to talk about the face of the. Steph Curry, one of our greatest ambassadors in history of sports, scored 56 in year 17 or whatever else, 18 or 17 or 18, and they also got just got Jimmy Butler trade. They've been playing great. They look like a threat in to win a series or whatever else. Nah, let's talk about face of the league. Some imaginary shit, not actual games.
Like we be talking about face of the promotion and shit like that. Like
it's wrestling. It's wrestling, Rich, and it's a real sport.
Yeah, like I couldn't imagine them doing a face of the NFL thing. It's like, what the fuck?
It's a quarterback.
Yeah, Like no one would
People
do
don't,
that. Like no one cares. Like I don't know.
right? Like, bro, think of the kind of pitch man that Peyton Manning has been, right? Like last 20 years. We have never had someone close to the face of, yeah, we have never had somebody be like no 1, 2, or 3 for face of the NBA in our lifetime. It had as many playoff disasters as Peyton Manning has. If he was an NBA player, we would have called him a fucking choking dog that luckily won 2, got carried to his last one on his last legs, and then and the one that he did win, he didn't even play well. We be talking about he's Jason Tatum.
I mean, we didn't.
He's way obviously
didn't.
he's way better. He's had a way better start his career than Jason Tatum had. But my point is like, oh well, you were the best. Well, you know, you didn't win Finals MVPs and whatever else. But like, no, Peyton Manning never had some great playoff run to go through 3 or 4 games. It never happened. We see him every single week on Monday Night Football. And his brother, and his brother, right? It's like it's just weird how like the sports are just weird and different, man. And I don't know. What makes it so different.
Maybe football had it figured out, man. I thought that football was doing a lot of things wrong at the end of last decade and stuff like that. Like,
didn't matter, right?
It didn't end up mattering at all. Like, and they came out stronger on the other side, and it's like, how, like,
right?
And then it's like, well, what are people really connected with? It's like teams, like people feeling connected to these things, and then
and then what we do, we go build. Let's build a CBA to where you can't even keep a good team together anymore.
Yeah. So like,
great.
It's gonna be damn if you do, damn if you do. It's a Wild West now, but I did think there was a time where it didn't have to be the Wild West, but we're far past that point now. So, like, I don't know what the Lakers roster looks like in 4 years. Let's just say that. Like,
I mean, did we ever know how far? Did we ever know that, like, oh yeah, this team's going to be together for 4 years? Like, outside of like, okay, maybe like 3 guys.
Like, I felt like the Thunder was never going to break up until they did. I thought the Heat were locked in till the rest of their days or whatever.
You thought they were all ride it out?
I mean, yeah, like 5, 6, 7. Like they were saying.
No, it's not the joke for real though. What do you think you think they're actually? Do you ever really think that?
I mean, I didn't see why any of them would leave like at that point, but whatever.
I mean, I did once I saw. I mean, after I saw the 2014 finals, where I saw Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade combined to average 50 points a game, I was like, he might stay, but he might also leave. That wouldn't surprise me.
That's why LeBron left, not no fucking damn cookies. Like I ain't taking no rewriting of that history, none. Y'all niggas stunk that shit up. Wade, Bosh. He would. And
remember
y'all
how good Wade was in that conference finals?
No. It's been
Rich. Remember that last year they low managed Wade actually. Like they took him off games. There were times and then like he got to that conference finals against the Pacers. He played great, and then the finals happened, and it was like it just disappeared.
They got their ass kicked in both ways.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Who else? But I don't know. I thought some of the Shannon Frye stuff was like led to. I mean, I think LeBron's comments are different from the ones like that Shannon Frye was expressing, because like Shannon Frye kind of like LeBron was reacting to something in his question, so like he probably can see where Ant is coming from, probably knowing Ant. And obviously, I would think Ant, as I said to start this thing, obviously you don't put a target on yourself like that, because had he said, yeah, I'm the face of the league, it would have been like news on, it would have led off everything else. And then it's like, whoa, is he the face of the league? Is it? And then it would have just been like, oh, the face of the league.
They would have mocked him.
Look,
they would have mocked him.
When he gets his ass sent home in the first round this year, they'd be like, oh, the face of the league sent home in the first round, huh? Like,
well, Rich, think of the shit he got over the summer when he was like, the quote is the quote, but when you see the video, you can tell he's joking. When he came out there, he said, "Yeah, I'm the best guy here at the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the best guy on Team USA." And then like you see I remember seeing that quote. I was like, I think we talked about it on the show, and I remember like, let me see let me see the video of it. I said, oh, he's joking. He's not serious. Get out of here. That would have been some shit while they was over there if he had actually been like straight face. Yeah, I'm. You know, imagine he said it like he was like in Kawhi Leonard deadpan, straight laced. Like, yeah, I believe I'm the best player on this team. It'd been like,